Can Brian Shaw ever become a world champion arm wrestler? Let's take a look at how Engin Terzi answered this question.
Bob Guy, do you think Brian Shaw could take on any rank pullers right now? I don't think he can do anything at all. Not right now, and I'm not sure if he can ever be top 10 ranked, My friend, arm wrestling is different thing,
So from the statements which I have made about Brian in the past, it's fair to assume that I would agree with Engin Terzi. At least Engin is honest here about his opinion on Brian Shaw. Unlike other arm wrestlers who would simply lie to celebrity status athletes like Larry and Brian if and when it comes with the benefit of boosting their confidence to stay in the sport for a long time. So even those guys are saying that for a good purpose. But Engin is being more honest here. And sometimes this can backfire too. If these incredibly strong guys don't see the progress that they were promised by some of the most experienced arm wrestlers, then they can quit. Larry Wheels has quit arm wrestling now. Initially, Juji Mufu was looking pretty smooth on the arm wrestling table. He also couldn't keep up with the elbow pain which he was suffering from after arm wrestling, and he thought it wasn't worth it. So just like me, you also might be wondering why would Engin Terzi all of a sudden say this about Brian Shaw? Maybe it could be because there were already some issues between the East versus West promoters, and maybe Engin already heard that they were going to change the venue from Baku, Azerbaijan to Colorado, USA, where Brian Shaw Classic is happening. But that's a wild guess. There's a 15% possibility that it is true. That statement was made by Engin about 2 to 3 weeks ago. But now there's a twist here. Take a look at this clip of Eddie Hall and Brian Shaw arm wrestling.
Nice.
Brian got the cupping, he got the pronation, he got the riser, he had everything in that practice pull, easily destroying Eddie Hall. So much improvement since their last super match which happened 6 months ago. So if we are seeing progress at this rate, how can we possibly say that Brian Shaw cannot become the #1 arm wrestler in the world? If he cannot, then who can? I must say that we have to wait until the Brian versus Brandon Allen super match. Brandon was able to defeat Larry Wheels. If Brian can defeat Brandon, then it can tell us something about his level. Because Eddie Hall's arm wrestling level is not known. He's an unknown entity. That's why Brian beating him doesn't really mean anything. But guys like Larry Wheels or Brandon Allen on the other hand, we know how strong they are. So if Brian can dominate this upcoming match, then it might force some people to change their opinion about Brian's potential in the sport of arm wrestling. The common criticism that Brian gets from the arm wrestling fans is that he isn't moving smoothly on the table. He has been arm wrestling for 1 year. There should have been more improvement than that. But that could simply be because he's 6'7". That's why he doesn't look super smooth. He's a big guy and he's got all the moves on the table. He can hook, he can top roll, and he can press. Especially the press. That is a weapon that can help you finish a lot of matches that you cannot finish with either a hook or a top roll. But despite all of that, I would say to me a natural talent who can get to the top looks someone like Richard Borman, who's just 2 years into arm wrestling and he's already #1 in Australia probably for last 6 months. So with just 1.5 years of arm wrestling, he was at the top there. I would even include Khalid Jashel there. I think if Khalid continued arm wrestling, he could have been legit top 5 in the world in the 115 kg category with maybe 5 years of arm wrestling. But as of now, I cannot say the same for Brian Shaw. Would you put your money on Brian becoming top 5 in the super heavyweight division in next 5 years? Or I should even say 4 years, because he has already been arm wrestling for 1 year now. Mention your thoughts in the comment section, like the video, and I'll see you again.